We need reparations, we need vacations, we need blue strips for all the time we spent waiting. We gon' kill for what we owe, Joe, we not playing. Mr. President, I think it's time we get paid. I watch all of my people die. Why your people try to act like we commit crime? Get killed on TV, got our kids scared to go outside. It's time you pick a side. Before we turn this bitch up, Mr. President, better fall in line. Yeah, we don't need loans, we need what we owe. We need police to stop killing sisters inside their home. And when it happened and we burn this bitch down, they need to stop telling us we was wrong. Hey, and we need unity. We need the government to stop bringing drugs in our community. They better stop playing, we not the ones. You got guns and we got guns. We kill if you play with our funds. Yeah, how we supposed to restore when they won't give us more? When they got knees on our necks when we walk out the store. How we heal when they go to the park, kill a 12-year-old boy for killing, we ready for war. Yeah, and we need reparations, we need vacations, we need blue strips for all the time we spent waiting. We gon' kill for what we owe, Joe, we not playing. Mr. President, I think it's time we get paid.
Peace, peace. Greetings to you all. It's your brother Naheem, BKA Lord Abba, AKA Mr. Just the Facts. Mr. Just the Facts. First, little housekeeping, man. Hit that like button. Share the video out. We spoke about this One Big Beautiful Bill Act the other night and how it'll impact our people, particularly at the bottom. And I have some new numbers. And depending on where your tax bracket is, this thing may be great for you. But we know where we are as a collective people. And for those people, it will, in fact, be bad. We're going to get into some of that tonight. Subscribe to the channel. First and foremost, go to YouTube. Like I always say, I know there's going to be a couple hundred people watching on X, but go to YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to keep ourselves in the algorithm right now and YouTube's algorithm. Our content is that important. I know X is popping right now. That's where the political conversations are happening. We had one yesterday. We had a Twitter space, X space yesterday. One of the so-called bad Dems, as they call themselves, a group of, I call them Democratic trolls. They came into the space. One of them called himself trying to debate us. It was pretty comical. It was pretty comical. We are like Wu-Tang. We are not to be effed with. Point blank, period. But come on over to the YouTube channel. If you're watching from Facebook, if you're watching from X, where we are streaming from simultaneously. Now, today we're going to talk about this bill some more. And we're going to talk about political mobilization because it is important, and it's been a key part of the messaging of Be the Power and United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen for the longest. So I'll start from here. Matter of fact, I got to give some shout outs. We can't forget the shout outs. I see my sister BTP Riri is in the building. My sister BTP Isla is on deck. Brian T said he just reposted this stream. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Y'all know once I get the live stream going, we don't get into all of the shout outs anymore. But I want to get into this discussion because it's important. This is a very, very important discussion. And one of the things that people are not talking about is mobilizing. The reason why we had the Twitter space yesterday is because there were people that were retweeting the last live stream we did on some I told you so stuff. Like, this is what y'all voted for. Like, no, we didn't vote for the bottom of our people to become even more bottomless. But everything else, well, yeah, I can agree. If you want to have a debate about that, sure. A part of the debate discussion yesterday was, can American freedmen, our people, not people that are quote unquote black, but have family from the Caribbean or Africa, et cetera, can we be deported? The answer to that is no. And the people that were making that erroneous claim, they couldn't even argue it yesterday. They just could not. So we're gonna, I don't know if we're gonna get into any of that, but it was a part of the broader discussion, because what these people do is I told you so's and fear mongering. No plans. The only plan is we should have voted for Kamala. That would have changed nothing for the bottom of our people, because all politicians, like I said on the last live stream, and like I've been saying for years, focus on the middle up, period. That's where their focuses are, on the middle up. So I think I'm going to start with these charts right here. Again, y'all make sure y'all share the video out, and make sure, if you got some people that are interested in this topic, make sure y'all share that out as well. So we're going to start here, and I may bring some of this back up as the live stream goes along. So let's get into this. All right. All right, what just happened? No, that's not how I want to do it. I'll do it this way. All right. So for those at the bottom, for those of us at the bottom, it is important to understand how this big, beautiful bill, which I call the big ugly bill, will hurt us. There's new information starting to come out about the bill and its projections. None of them help the bottom. What's going on, Keenan, right? None of them help the bottom. So the bottom 10% of income earners are projected to lose $1,600 on average. This is, we're dealing with American freedmen right now. So the estimates, and we don't have disaggregated numbers, but what we do know, based on the several color of wealth reports that were published a few years ago, that our people, in comparison to other blacks, like in Los Angeles, like in Boston, pale in comparison when you're analyzing median net worth, median household wealth or worth, because I don't like to use wealth, because it's not wealth when it comes to us. It's just worth. So the bottom 10% are projected to lose $1,600 on average. These are people that largely rely on TANF, SNAP, using old school terms, welfare, food stamps, etc., etc. There's roughly 47 million of us in the United States. There are 3 to 3.5 million American freedmen households that are in this bottom 10%. That's a lot of people. And when we're looking at crime statistics in the United States and we're tracing those statistics upon poverty lines and where these crimes are being committed at, it is in what are called low-income neighborhoods. 7.5 to 10.5 million individuals are in the bottom 10%, right? So we move from an aggregate number, households, 3 to 3.5 million households in the US are in that bottom 10%. But when you break that down individually, which is usually broken down 2 parents and 2.5 children, I believe is the breakdown, then that number, it grows, obviously, because it's not an aggregate number. We're looking at individuals, 7.5 to 10.5 million individuals are in that bottom 10%. That bottom 10%, again, is projected to lose $1,600 on average. Who gains from the bill? Oh, wrong one. Who gains from the bill? So this is the estimated income, the estimated annual income changes on this so-called big, beautiful bill, right? So if you're earning, and this is below, or this is about poverty line, right? Well, no, this is below poverty, excuse me. This is for those that are not really earning. They are reliant on food assistance and monies from their local government or state government. These are the people that are going to be affected the most. Then you have those people all the way up to those earning $51,000. And those will be from that $1,600 to small losses to flat. I believe that tops out at about 38 or 39,000. And then you start to see some very small incremental gains. I should have had all of that laid out. I was just studying it earlier. And my numbers can be wrong, but this is based off of the projections by, the CBO and other organizations that are designed to crunch these numbers and give these types of projections. For those earning $51,000 to $93,000 a year, you can expect a $500 to $1,000 increase. So depending on your tax bracket, this one big beautiful bill will be beneficial to you. For those earning $93,000 to $174,000, that bump will go from $1,000 annually to $3,000 annually. And that, of course, varies on the different variations that all of this stuff broke down before I threw it in ChatGPT and asked it to condense it into this chart for me, right? For those of you who are making $174,000 to $263,000, your bump is going to be between $2,000 and $5,000, according to the CBO, which is typically the top 10% of earners. For those making $263,000 plus, you will receive a $12,000 annual bump. Basically, what my man said in New Jack City, the rich get richer and the poor don't get a fucking thing. Basically. Basically. So one of the things that we want to speak about tonight is mobilization. We have to look at what's going on, and we have to ensure, because I seen Trump talking about employers being able to keep their workers that been there 15, 20 years. We didn't have such an incentive. Roy Beck breaks this down in his book, The Back of the Hiring Line. And in the book, The Back of the Hiring Line, he's highlighting how it was our people doing field work. It was our people doing that field work. And that this idea that we didn't do it, it was a lie. And it was propaganda spread through the media that we didn't do this type of work, right? And you had comedians that would, I remember the jokes. I remember some of those D.L. Hughley and other jokes. Come on, y'all know N-words ain't going to be out in no fields picking those strawberries and all of it. Well, that's exactly the work that we were doing. And this is one of the things that Roy Beck highlights in his book, The Back of the Hiring Line, that we actually did that work. And when they replaced us, where were these types of provisions that Trump is offering the farmers that own the farm? I'm like, I need me some farmland. We represent 1% of farmers in this country, or I should say 1% of American freedmen are farmers in this country out of our whole population. Well, if that's the case, then it's time for us to start getting us some farmland. And if we're going to have wage servants, then this is an idea we've been proposed. You want a path to citizenship? Come pick our yams and strawberries and potatoes. I'll plant some cotton as well. I'll plant some cotton as well, and after 5, 6, 7 years, do a good job. You know, we stamp that paper for you. Let them into the country. Let them into the country. You know, we see a lot of talking heads right now speaking about, oh, this is some form of slavery. This is some form of slavery. I mean, these people broke into the country, and you want to reward them with jobs while American freedmen suffer? Let me pull up this tweet, this post on X by this woman named Rachel True. Right? These one of these fake influencers that be buying 60,000.5 followers, or 60.5 thousand followers, excuse me. And you know, these people be buying follows, right? And I'm going to assume that this woman is not an American freedman, right? So let's read somebody named Wall Street Apes made a post. American describes his town after ICE raids, and I'm seeing it as well. In 1 week, I have seen in my city Black men power washing parking lots, Black men doing roofing work, Black men doing lawn services around businesses. In my city, things are starting to look like the old days again, a few days after ICE. And this person, Rachel True, said, quote unquote, foundational Blacks all excited because there are more low-paying manual labor jobs available for Black Americans. It's not the flex they think it is. See, men largely will fill these jobs. When people like this are making y'all can't even see the tweet, my bad. When people like this, hold on. I keep forgetting I switched my format up, so I have to go back. So now y'all can see it. My bad, y'all couldn't see it. When people like this person are making comments like this, what they're really doing is attacking men. They are attacking men. Let's just call it for what it is, right? Our people have had the highest unemployment rates in this country since, I believe, unemployment started being tracked. And this person is a clown, obviously. This Rachel True person is a clown, right? She's the type of person that would tweet this stuff and let it get the traction that it needs, but she would never try to have a discussion or debate. I would drop the link so she could come on and try to try to debate on it. I'll embarrass her right here on this live stream. And anybody who thinks like that, N. Holmes said the Black community is in trouble. Well, it depends on what your tax bracket is. If you mean the bottom rung of the Black community is in trouble, you're right. You are 100% correct. I broke the numbers down, M. Holmes, and I may go back over that in a few. But I want to read some of the comments, right? The brother who has a profile by the name of Nas, he's heavy on going at these immigrants, said, we believe in hard work. I want all American citizens to be able to have jobs no matter what industry it is. Those manual jobs are only low paying because we have been flooded by illegal aliens. Remove them all and wages go up. Now look at what this clown says. BS. I want to see Black people in jobs like teachers, CEOs, and executives because they pay more. You keep fighting for scraps. This person is ignorant. Our people need jobs, period. We can build our CEOs. If you're in a quote unquote predominantly Black city, most of the teachers look just like us. This person is ignorant and more than likely not an American freedman making this stupid comment. When you go to predominantly Black cities, you're going to see CEOs and executives. But what you're going to also see is Mexicans doing the landscaping jobs, Mexicans doing all of the construction work, Mexicans doing all of the roofing. You're going to see Indians, the red dot Hindu Indians that own all of the hotels and all of the gas stations. And they're putting their people on. This person is ignorant. And this type of ignorance, it has no place right now because we should be mobilizing our people right now for better, right? And this is one of the things that Brother Ali said in the space, because I was amused by I was amused by the space yesterday because it just proved to me that these people have no arguments. They are merely party line towers and nothing more than party line towers. And they will argue against their own people, like this Rachel True person. You want to try to clown us for wanting to work jobs that Mexicans are working right now and getting paid off of while our people represent the unemployment. This is why we must mobilize. We must ensure that poverty breeds crime. So we must ensure that our crime rate doesn't skyrocket. And that's going to come from what Martin Luther King Jr. called that creative minority. That's what it's going to come from. That creative minority. Point blank, period. It's people like us. Some of you who are watching right now that know that what we're talking about is, in old 5% parlance, 100% all wise, right, and exact. So I want to get to some of the strategy. I don't know. You know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reshare. I want to go back over real quick. I want to go back over the tax bracket. I want those people to see it who didn't see it. So just give me 1 second. I want to break this down again before we move forward. Again, those earning $17,000 or less will have a net loss. And it's not just $17,000 or less. It goes up to about 30-something thousand, if my memory serves me correct, based on what I was researching earlier. Those that are in the range of that 17K to 51K will have small losses to flat, meaning probably at 51K, you know, maybe between 47 and 51K, you're not going to necessarily feel it. You're not going to feel it. You're not going to experience a loss or a gain. If you make more than that, right, that $51,000 to $93,000, you're going to get a $500 to $1,000 annual bump. 93K to 174K, $1,000 to $3,000 annual bump. 174K to 263K, a 2K to 5K bump. And that's within that top 10% according to the CBO. And for those making $263,000 and better, you're going to get a $12,000 bump. So the poor are going to remain poor. There's no investment programs. There's no platinum plans being proposed this time around. Let me pull this comment up. Let me pull this comment up because this comment is important. It's brothers out here in Detroit still trying to file Moorish, I always laughed at that word, Moorish paperwork, and don't understand we are in a whole different ethos now. The reason why, my brother Ali always did a good job at pointing this out. The reason why we're in that stage, or we're in that stage of filing this paperwork in the first place, was because of our wealth positionality in this country. An indigent people trying to make it. We never were taught entrepreneurial skills. We were never taught trade skills. We were the products of redlining and disinvestment. And in desperate attempts, we went to these paperwork schemes by these so-called Moors, not the people that was a part of what Noble Drew Ali established, but these offshoot scam artists selling you paperwork packages and all of this nonsense that leads to nowhere. That's not what Noble Drew Ali was about. He mobilized in the city of Chicago politically. He mobilized in the city of Detroit, in Pittsburgh, etc., etc., etc. He mobilized politically in those places. He didn't just bring some religious movement, 5 on the left, 2 on the right. No, politicians were a part of that inner circle. That's why you see that picture with Noble Drew Ali in the middle, and you see Lewis B. Anderson, who was elected to the second alderman of the second ward, I believe, alderman of Chicago. What's the other guy's name? It's right there at the tip of my tongue. Oscar DePriest, who was the first freedman congressman elected into office since they were all removed during the 1877 compromise. Look it up. It was the Moorish movement in Chicago that helped get that man elected. This is just a fact. So those brothers that's out there doing all of that paperwork nonsense, it's not going to get you anywhere. We have a movement right now that's politically viable, and we have things that we can show you that's working right now, real stuff. All of that trying to take this exit ramp into some fantasy land is over. It's over because things are about to tighten up for those of us at the very bottom. And all of your paperwork schemes ain't going to do nothing but land you in jail. I watch people over the years just throw their lives away. Sister got 14 years in prison trying to squat on a home over some Moorish paperwork nonsense. Then tried to drive off while the cops were trying to detain her and hit the cop. 14 years in prison, had, I believe, 2 children. Nah, man. That's not going to cut it. So, I'm glad you said that, brother, because it gave me the opportunity to address that. All of that stuff that people are doing, the stuff is bogus, man. We're not going to win standing on a corner holding up 12 chart signs that don't even equate to anybody from the biblical narrative and how they have it displayed. None of that is going to work. There's no Lord coming down to crack open the sky with 10,000 angels with flaming swords to come smite white people, and only white people, because I guess they're the only sinners on the planet, because this is what no, that's not how things work. If there's going to be some smiting due to religion, then all sinners will be smited according to your own scriptures. It's got to get out of this fantastical way of thinking. It's time for solutions. And my organization, United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen and Be the Power, offer those solutions. So let's get into some of that. I like creating these graphs and these charts out of our information. And I'm going to touch on some of this in brief. Let me see if I can pull this up. All right, there we go. Let's see if I can share this. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Y'all make sure y'all share the video out. Share the video out, fam. Share the video out. All right, let's go. Let's go. So this is American Freedmen Mobilization Toolkit. Mitigating the harms of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act to underserved American freedmen, because that's who will be harmed the most. That's who will be harmed the most. Yes, please hit that like button, share this video out, subscribe to the channel, support the channel. Cash App, $ Be the Power. Use that super chat. We are about the business of our people. Point blank, period. And we're offering real, viable solutions. I know our platform doesn't have thousands and thousands of viewers. That's cool. We are the creative minority, and we already have works to show. We are already carving our footprints. Our footprints are clearly cut, and we still have a long way to go on this journey. So for those of you that are watching on X right now, there's 200 people watching on X. Come on over to the YouTube channel, subscribe, click that little bell icon next to the subscribe button, become a part of the notification nation, and share the video out. Share the video out, because now it's time for us to do something. Now it's time for us to be about it instead of us talking about it. So let's go, right? Right. So here are some of the strategies. The following strategies outline some of our comprehensive approach to building power and resilience in freedmen communities. Key action areas: local political consolidation. Our goal, as many of you already know, is to implement the Back South strategy and flood key southern counties. Launch voter drives in religious institutions, your churches, your mosques, your temples, etc. Your camps for those Hebrew Israelites, your barbershops, your events. Like we have to become active now. We have to become active. Just like I could go at your 12 tribes chart, I could go at your club hopping. Like we can't twerk our way and party our way out of this one. Things are about to get tight for those at the bottom. Point blank, period. Develop local freedmen packs. We have to start developing political action committees. I'm all for developing that political action committee and having our satellites spread out all throughout the country. We got to publish our own freedmen voting guides. Right? People need to know who we need to vote for. There's going to be people with money that will challenge our candidates, and they are going to dominate the airwaves. They are going to have ads on all over YouTube, all over, especially local television. But we also can utilize social media and old school publishing voting guides and just handing them out. This is the people that's going to help fix our, you talk to them. These are the people who are going to help fix our communities right here. We got to get back to old school, boots on the ground, grassroots work. That part of the work will never, ever get played out. No amount of AI or advanced computer technology will ever replace that. State and county police countermeasures, right? Policy countermeasures. Expand Medicaid access using state budgets. Once we start to take control, once we start to organize, once we start to mobilize, we can start pushing for these things. We can push those officials whom are already established to use the state's budgets. Remember, I showed in the last live stream that 26, I believe it was 26% of the federal money was actually going to the community, like directly to the poor, which largely consists or comprises of our people. But 34% of it, and my number could be slightly off, was going to other things that the state decided that money should go to. 100% of federal funds should go to the poor in these states. And that's about to get tighter because these states are going to now have control. They're going to have full control over these funds according to this bill. I broke it down on the last live stream. Advocate for county SNAP supplements, pass local work exemption ordinances. Now, I don't want our people on SNAP and TANF. I want to be clear. I don't want this to be some lifelong thing, right? I don't want to confuse our message with the message of liberals who will say in one breath, y'all losing y'all's welfare and food stamps. Y'all got to fight. And then in the next breath say, y'all are glad that low-wage jobs are opening up, right? So I want to be clear on that. I want us to be clear on that we cannot be at the bottom anymore in this country. But for now, because I am a dialectical materialist and I deal with reality as it is, that is where we are. And the poor is about to get a proverbial noose around their necks with the provisions of this bill while the rich get richer. So we are going to have to do our part, point blank, period. So let's continue. Mutual aid and community support. We have to get back into community. I don't know how much of this y'all can see on the screen because this is kind of small, so forgive me for that. But y'all, at the sound of my voice, hear me reading what's being shown on the screen. Mutual aid and community support. Establish food co-ops and grower hubs. There are people that I've encountered over my years who say, all we got to do is grow our own food, right? And this was their way of saying that they wanted to be off the grid. They're no different in some aspects than those Moorish paperwork pushers. But they have to be made to understand that you trying to do some off-grid stuff is selfish. Right now, we need to look at government as a tool that we can rustle out of the control of those who have been using it as a tool of oppression, especially locally, as a tool that we can use to develop the very ideas that you are trying to stand on. I don't need to live off the grid. It makes no sense. I like electricity. I like clean running filtered water. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get well water. I believe in well water. I believe you need to drink you some well water, and sure. But the fact of the matter is there are millions of us in this country and thousands of us in every one of our cities. Take that skill and make it a part of the growing collective within the city. Launch neighborhood child care cooperatives. Because remember, I was breaking down the other day about this bill that this is going to affect child care for the bottom. If you implement a work to welfare program and you're already having issues paying for a babysitter, let's just say you're a low-wage earner that still relies on TANF. It's hard to pay for a babysitter. It's hard to pay for child care. This is when we got to start building again as a community. All of it, and I'm not talking that, Black power, Afrocentric stuff that we've been used to hearing over the past several generations. I'm talking about us actually becoming the power and taking control over our municipalities with sheer numbers. That's what I'm talking about. And in doing so, rebuilding that community fiber, that thing, when you ain't have sugar back in the days and you went and knocked on your neighbor's door, you ain't have bread, like, can I get a couple slices of bread? We lost all of that. And in that, we became proud and arrogant in our poverty to some extent. And we closed ourselves off from being a cooperative community. I know, we shouldn't be at that point at this stage, but this is the point where we're at. I am, like I said, a dialectical materialist. I deal with reality as it is, period. And the reality is when states start to implement these programs, our women with children, our sisters, our brothers and sisters with children, let's speak in family. Our brothers and sisters with children are going to have a difficult time. And so if we can start to form community cooperatives for our babies with trusted individuals from in our community, as opposed to sending them to daycare where sometimes we've seen some crazy stories of abuses anyway, bringing in these people from these other countries, and you see them on hidden cameras abusing your children. No, now they're going to be with people that we know. We got to think like that. And we at Be the Power, this is just an outline. We're going to develop a whole plan, and that's going to be on our website, bethepower.org, for people to download. Like, we're coming with a plan. We're coming with solutions, tried and true solutions, because most of this stuff we've already done. We've already done it. We just have to get back to it and understand that now we have to fold in political power into this dough to bake this bread that we're trying to bake. This is the civic power movement right now. All right, let's get back to it. Develop local health clinics. Now, we those of us who have been doctors, who went to school, and I know we've been boxed out. But when we start taking political power and we pressure those who are in power already, we can start that process of developing new health clinics where the ones that are already established have failed us. We can start offering job and trade skill workshops. See, this is how you respond to this bill, because for those at the bottom, it is going to affect them the most, especially where we're not being placed on those jobs. If we're not going to be placed on the jobs that are coming open, then what you're saying is those people at the bottom are going to sink deeper into the bottom. Not if we can help it. Not if this creative minority can help it. Not if those of us who are building a true political renaissance can help it. We will take control over the government and do for our people what needs to be done. And then government will just be a governing apparatus like it's supposed to be, and our people will do fine on their own. Point blank, period. But we'll still be in control. We'll still be in control. Let's look at the next phase of this. Additional strategic initiatives. We're giving away the plan. We usually don't do this. This is stuff that I build in private with individual groups about, and individuals that have some type of power. But I want people to know that there are those of us that have a plan. Because again, if you are middle class in this country and up, this bill is going to either not affect you or benefit you. And we have some of our people that's in the middle class. So right now, this live stream is to help strip away a lot of the fear mongering that's going on by left-wing media for political purposes. Let's finish. Legal and media advocacy. File lawsuits with our civic power partners across these locales. There are those like the NAACP and Urban League in Philly who have bucked against their organizational heads, and for the most part have found themselves more in line with the type of stuff that we're doing. So if these people are truly about fighting for our, because we're going to lead the way. We're going to lead the way. But if they're truly about fighting for our people, now is the time to put them to the test. And they can't come with that Republican versus Democrat nonsense, because it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing at the end of the day, because the people that were poor will just be getting poorer. And if you've had this power and position and resources all of this time and you've done nothing for the poor, the only thing you can do is get with us or get in line behind us, because we're marching forward regardless. Produce Freedmen Center media content like what you're watching right now. We have to start a consolidation of our YouTube platforms. It's a every man for himself content creation platform because of our wealth positionality in this country. Like, I see things for what it is. I see things for what it is, but this shouldn't be about your personal AdSense checks at the end of the month. Right now, we need to start weaving these narratives together. We need to start fact check each other and not be scared to come together and on the back channel and say, hey, this is wrong, and not make tweets like one group did, saying somebody is off cold because they're proposing their understanding or even misunderstanding of what are them things called? Opportunity zones in the public. That's whack and corny, and only lames do stuff like that when everybody is cool. When you beefing, then all's fair in love and war. But when everybody's cool and you do something like that, then it shows that you have some other ulterior motive. And for those of you who know who I'm talking about, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. And they do have an ulterior motive. And I don't see any real partnership with that organization. But for those people that know what I'm saying is right and exact, there's room over here to do real work. We don't demand that you worship at our altar. All we demand is that you do the work in your community for real. That's it. Because like I said, we have work to show. We have CVS long receipts over the past several years. Target House districts with campaigns. The people that are in office, we got to get them up out of there. You're either going to bend to our will or we're going to get you up out of there. And the key is we're going to be raising our own politicians anyway. We're going to identify who the leaders are, those people that can become the politicians. You know, people used to come up to me all the time. They still say it to me, brother, when you going to run for office? I love what you're talking about. That type of, my father says it to me all the time. Man, when you going to run for office, man? You need to, he says it to me all the time, right? You got to see that in a person, even if you don't see it in yourself. If that's something that you don't see in yourself, identify those individuals. Y'all should run. I like the way y'all talk. And if they start talking that, well, this is what we putting this toolkit together for. It's time for us to start changing the way we think. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. That is the reality of every human experience that's ever existed in our human existence. We have to start dominating the local newspapers by publishing op-eds, and we have to speak locally. Right? We got to do town halls and all of these different things. Economic independence initiatives. We have to launch Freedmen-owned businesses. I've launched several myself. I won't get into those right here on the air, but I've launched several businesses, and we're working out the details to get those businesses viable, funded, and off the ground, and build up employers, etc., employees, excuse me, etc., etc. Start with your families. Start with your families. That's exactly what I'm doing. My children are grown now. My youngest is my twin girls. They'll be 19 years old. Start with your family. This is how we have to start thinking. What I'm speaking to you today is real. This is no fluff. This isn't no nonsense. I'm not asking you for anything. If you want to support the platform, because we do have to pay bills every month on StreamYard, etc., then sure. But that's not what this is. This is free game right here. And this will be on the website for you to download in detail on bethepower.org. Stay tuned to our channel, especially our YouTube channel. When it's ready, we're going to put up a YouTube short instructing people to go to the website and download it. We must create our own trade academies and apprenticeship pipelines. We have to ensure that those of us who are plumbers, electricians, welders, etc., are reaching back to the community to help our youth by creating these trade centers, to whereas we give up one of those off days, that Saturday, that Sunday, to take an hour or two out of our time to start teaching our youth, them young people that's in our neighborhoods producing crimes because of poverty. Those crimes are produced out of poverty. What happened in Chicago, I believe that was last night, utterly ridiculous. Guys just shot up. I don't like talking about this stuff on the air, but guys decided that they were going to shoot up a whole club. Just spray inside the club with all of the people inside. I believe 2 people died and 2 were in critical condition, I believe. I could be off on those numbers. No, Brother Cash 504, our bill did not get passed yet. It's being sponsored right now. There's some things moving with the bill. We have some meetings in next month in August. So in things, we expect the bill to pass. We expect that bill to pass. So we will definitely make an announcement. We will make an announcement. All right, where else are we? The typical stuff, applying for grants, etc., etc. Those are things that we speak about, and we have to build up our men. I have a program that I'm working on that I won't share right now. But that thing that I'm working on is gonna be great. When I've showed people in group settings and individuals that are power players in the areas that I frequent, particularly Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where we've moved our headquarters to. If you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, or in the North Carolina area, hit me up. Hit me up. It's time for us to start connecting. Those of you that are about doing something real. But this is about power. It is time for us to shift from dependence to political independence by organizing, educating, and building Freedmen institutions at the local level. Period. Period. This is about building. And we must uplift our men, because we talk about on this platform how the left, the Democrats, have disrespected our men. Every election, it's the same nonsense. Oh, black men this and black men that. But the right does the same exact thing. They start talking about Baltimore and Chicago and all of these different places. And a lot of this stuff, although it's happening in blue cities, it's also, for the most part, happening in red states. It's just happening all over. There's no need to put a political color on it. It's happening all over. And the question should be asked, if you're a Republican, what bills have you advanced to invest in these communities so that they can stop the crime and the killing and the so-called fatherlessness that you all keep saying, which is a myth? What bills have you advanced? None. So shut up. Shut up. Stop talking about it. Because you have no solutions. We have solutions for us and our people. We have solutions, and you're witnessing some of them. I might pull up. I don't know. I might pull up something else, man. I might pull up something else. And Brian T said absolutely nothing on the right, and this is for, we are a Freedmen-centered, Freedmen-centric, Freedmen-first movement, right? But I want people to understand that we are still Americans at the end of the day. We are not adverse to forming coalitions with like-minded individuals, regardless of so-called race. When you look at the history of racism in this country, it culminates, doesn't start, but it culminates after Bacon's Rebellion. What year that is? What is that? 1674, maybe. I could be off on that date, but somebody, my chat is smart and it's easy to look up. But it culminates after Bacon's Rebellion. And when you look up the history of what's going on in Bacon's Rebellion, you're watching the proletariat class. The proletariat class consists of people of African descent, our ancestors, and people of European descent, Brian's ancestors, right? And they're one class. They're fighting together. There's a story about a colonel that came over from Britain, England, whatever, to fight on the side of the bourgeoisie planter class. And he used guile and manipulation. Well, matter of fact, I'm going to do a breakdown on that one day. We're going to break down the myth of race on this platform. I'm going to start with whiteness, because people need to understand how these mythological racial terms, right? I don't have black skin. My skin is brown. White people, as they're called, don't have white skin. They have a palish, really palish brown skin, if you think about it. This is the reality of our human situation. And this particular bourgeoisie planter class, which is today your oligarchs, they have always pitted us against one another. And they incentivize those European Americans of the worker class to go against those African Americans of the worker class. And eventually this thing metastasized into the racism that we see today. So I want to be clear that we are not adverse to forming any coalitions, but what we're doing is going to be Freedmen led and Freedmen centered, and where our, where we can meet, use the term my sister Sonny Johnson uses, voluntary association, where our circles intersect, especially for the betterment of our city or our state and our country. Then we should band together and hold town halls and get back to that proletariat type of union that we had during and before Bacon's Rebellion. There's a great book on the subject, and it's called The Invention of the White Race by Theodore W. Allen. It's 2 volumes. That second volume speaks to what I'm speaking of right now, the invention of the white race. And, that can be driving the OBBBA, that there are people that's in Trump's ear like, look, man, we got to keep the bottom at the bottom. So you're going to deport the people that should have been at the bottom in the first place. And the people that were at the bottom should have been the ones that was owning all of the restaurants and dominated the construction and healthcare markets, etc. So we're not having that anymore. Those days are over, man. Those days are over. So join the movement. Join the movement, man. Go to our website, bethepower.org. Sign up for our email list. Go to our website, usadof.org. Sign up for our email list. All right, let me see. YouTube Sucks says, if you have student loans, there's a huge chance that your loans just increase because of interest due to the big, beautiful bill. My wife's loans just went up $12,000. I don't know if that's true or not, right? Let me see. Am I able to? Let's leave that up. This is what I'm going to do, because I put the bills in my chat GPT. I put it in Grok. I don't know if Grok has the same memory capabilities as chat GPT and Gemini. But what I'm going to do is take this comment and I'm going to put it in my chat GPT. I want to see. Let me copy. Let's copy and paste this. Let's see what chat says. Let's see what chat says. Give me 1 second, y'all. Make sure y'all hitting that like button, because I want to see. I want to know. I want to know if student loan. I want to know all about the good and the bad, because we know that the bad is bad for us. Is this true? Matter of fact, I should just ask it. That's what I'm going to do. You can ask this stuff now. It'll talk back to you. I love this AI stuff. I love this AI stuff. Let's see if y'all can hear it. Is this true? If you have student loans, there's a huge chance that your loans just increased because of interest due to the Big Beautiful Bill Act.
It looks like the one big beautiful bill. So the idea that existing student loans would increase due to interest from the Big Beautiful Bill Act isn't quite true. The bill doesn't actually change interest rates on existing loans. It does, however, propose new repayment plans and changes for future borrowers, like capping federal student loans at $20,500 and eliminating some existing income-driven repayment plans.
Okay. So no, YouTube Sucks. And I put my whole thing. I mean, I put that whole thing, that whole bill. No, matter of fact, I didn't put that whole bill in chat. I put it in my car. I couldn't fit it in chat, and I didn't want to break it up into 1,000 different pieces, and that was before I purchased chat. So, but I've referenced the bill several times. I've had chat analyze various aspects of the bill, and it just said no, that's not what it's going to do. That's not what it's going to do. So, and that's what we do here. We want to fact check stuff on the spot because, I know people that have student loans, and we want to make sure that we're giving them this information as well, right? We want to make sure that those people that are in colleges, if this ugly bill, as I call it, is, it's a massive spending bill, and I don't see the benefit of it outside of what it will do for people that already have it. I just don't. I don't. So, it's time for us to mobilize. It's just as simple as that. That's what this breakdown has been about. This breakdown has been about mobilization. Brian said many of student loan debt is held by white, Asian, and Hispanic borrowers. So, I mean, for them, that information that was read off of ChatGPT obviously it will be helpful and useful. For us, of course, those of us that do have student loans, that part of it is not. But I believe that they are planning on implementing some measures that if you have student loans, things may go crazy. I don't know why my hat is just crooked, man. What the hell is going on with my hat? But yeah, so I wanted to get on here and talk about this thing some more, not fearmonger like the people have been doing on the left. I wanted to get on here and talk about what we can do. What we can do. I understand the bill is good for 2A. Let's ask chat again. We're gonna ask chat. Let's ask chat again. Does the One Big Beautiful Bill Act? No, let me rephrase that. Is the One Big Beautiful Bill Act good for Second Amendment rights?
It looks like the One Big Beautiful Bill Act initially included a provision that would have removed suppressors from the National Firearms Act, which would have eliminated the $200 tax and registration requirements. Supporters of the Second Amendment saw this as a positive change. However, the Senate parliamentarian ruled that this provision violated the Byrd Rule, so it had to be removed from the bill.
So I'm not 100% familiar with the Byrd Rule. So, and that's something that I would have to look up. So, I mean, if you was trying to get you some silence, at first it was a good thing. So I don't know how. Let me see. I mean, it's looking like the only thing, it was just they wanted to remove suppressors from the National Firearms Act, which would have eliminated the $200 tax and registration requirements. So my guess is if you want to have a suppressor or purchase a suppressor, you have to have, and somebody help me out with this because I don't know. But Sister Roz says this bill is full of pork. What's going on, Sister Roz? She said, I told you they were taxing suppressors at $200 each. So it looks like they put that back in there, Sister Roz. It looked like they took that out and then they sent it through the Senate, and the Senate agreed that this was a violation of the Byrd Rule. I mean, we on ChatGPT. Let's continue. In brief, can you explain what the Byrd Rule is?
Sure. The Byrd Rule is a Senate rule that applies to budget reconciliation bills. It basically says that any provision in a reconciliation bill must have a direct impact on the budget, either by changing spending or revenues. If a provision is considered extraneous, meaning it doesn't directly affect the budget, it can be removed from the bill under this rule.
Okay, so that's what it was, right? It wasn't something that would directly affect the budget. I guess they considered that as extraneous. So, I mean, it is what it is. I guess they're gonna have to try something else. This is a spending bill at the end of the day. I don't know how suppressors and things of that nature, but you know, it's Congress, man. The United States Congress, boy, they will try anything, and they will put pork in all of this stuff if they can. They'll put as much pork in it as possible. So, yeah. So I don't know if it's good necessarily for 2A, Sister Reed, but initially, before it went to the Senate and they had to make those amendments, it seems like it was, but that was really the only thing. It was, you know, the $200 to purchase suppressors. They have waived that. And anybody got any more information, y'all can definitely put it in the chat. I was just made aware of that before the stream happened. So that was a good question to ask and pull up while we're on live. So we got 307 people watching on X. I would like for you all to come over to the Be the Power YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, click like. If you like what you heard tonight, because we came with a plan, and that's just a piece. It's just a piece of our plan. It's more detailed, way more detailed. And that toolkit will be on our bethepower.org website. So y'all make sure that y'all look out for that, because it's needed. People need tangible solutions. They don't need fear mongering right now. They just don't. They don't need fear mongering right now. They need solutions. And that's what we at Be the Power and United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen are offering, man. And we're going to be dropping more and more content, not just on this channel, on our Freedmen University channel. I mean, it's time to ramp it up. It's time to ramp it up.
From civil rights to civic power, we are the descendants of those emancipated, still fighting, but now organizing. No more marching just for visibility. We're building political muscle, claiming public office, controlling our local economies. We're taking our rightful seat at the table, not asking. We are citizens. This is the civic power movement. Join us at Freedmen University and be part of the legacy.
Yeah, man. You know, little promo, throw a little promo in there. It's time to move. It's time to move. There's no more stagnation. You know, I don't know if I want to share this. We have people that take information and they twist it up for their own means, but I don't know if I want to share it. You know what? Ali could yell at me later. Ali could yell at me later. I'm gonna share this real quick. This is only a brief breakdown of what we're doing, right? People ask about the Back South strategy and how it can be paid for, et cetera, right? And one of the things that we did was thoroughly, man, we got people on the team like Brother Josh that crunches numbers, man. He has a degree in business, so he knows this stuff, knows it. And we have some things. I ain't gonna break this thing down, but we'll look at some things, right? For those of you that follow our platform, you know what our strategic locations are. in no particular order: North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Virginia, and Delaware. Wait, I know y'all can't see that. Hold on, my bad. No, y'all can't see that. Hold on. So, you know, I ain't gonna get too deep into it, but that dark purple represents where our people are already. I want people to pay attention. This is a heat map showing the American freedmen population in the United States of America by county. That's where our power is at. That's where our power is at. For those of you that watch our platform, we interviewed Charles Blow, right? Charles Blow is a liberal. He agreed to come on because it was, you know, about his book. We've adopted his plan. We've adopted that strategy: political leverage, economic revitalization, and historic freedmen communities. We can rebuild this. It's so on us. But I want to play. We got our brother in the building. I want to play our brother Josh. I want to play that clip from Charles Blow. Play that clip real quick. I want people to understand what it is that we are presenting. Like, this isn't some fanciful ideas that you just hear people talk about on Twitter Spaces. What we're presenting is actually viable and doable.
Right. Radical composition. No, that's literally right now 90% white people. But if you take the population of all those states, put them together, they're only 1/4 the population of black people in this country. It's not about your scale. People say, well, black people can't think they're going to have that much power. They're only 14% of the population. Scale has nothing to do with it.
That's right.
Those people in those 6 or 7 states represent only 3% of the American population, but they also represent 1 out of every 6 Senate votes ever cast on any issue.
Wow.
What you have to do is decide if you want to be strategically arrayed in America rather than completely spread out. And there's a balkanization of this country that's coming whether I wrote this book or not. It's happening. In 30 years from now, 6, 7, 8 of the southwestern states will be majority Hispanic, not majority brown, not majority minority, majority Hispanic. They will send whatever delegation they want to Washington, and they should. They will control all those electoral college votes, and then that's the way it breaks. Hawaii will continue to be majority Asian, South Pacific Islander, and they will send people representing that demographic to Congress as they do now. Oregon, Washington, down into the Rockies will continue to be majority white. Everything east of that will be some combination of majority white and majority minority. There is not a single state on that map 30 years from now that is projected to be majority black. Now, black people just have a choice to make. As I've been going in this book square, I keep saying, I'm not twisting you on. I'm saying, do you want state power or not?
That's right.
Because you can have it. It has nothing to do with your scale. Has nothing to do with you being 14% of the population. It has to do with where do you want to literally position yourself in the country? Because you can have that power.
That's what I'm talking about. See, the difference between us and Charles Blow is we're going to twist your arm. Oh, yeah. We're going to twist your arm. That heat map shows where we are, right? My sister Roz said, we're not about Democrats nor Republicans. We're freedmen first. This was the one I meant to pull up. 50 Cent and Cat Williams have their studios in the South. In the South. Just saying, man. And we look so young in the video, Jaws. It was just a couple years ago, man. We look really, This thing has aged us. I had a full beard now. I had the little struggle beard. I couldn't even get my joint to connect on one side back then, right? But all jokes aside, man, we can have that power. We can have that power. I ain't gonna go through all of it. Let me see, because some of this stuff is really, it's dope because this is what we do. It's what we do. This is, when you want to talk about how can we build this thing up, how can we create opportunities and revenue, and what does that return on investment look like? What does it look like? How do you build commercial ventures with the poor people? Well, you get them working. All those low-wage jobs that those Mexicans had, right? That chick tried to shame us about being excited for when many of us are unemployed. All these celebrities, right? All of these, the D.L. Hugleys, the Torres, Mark Lamont Hills, all of you scream about the right this and the right that. Well, we have a plan that requires some of your capital. You want to know what the entertainers can do with their money? We have this thing laid out. This is just, little bite-sized chunks for presentation purposes, but we have this thing fully laid out. How does this look? And you heard this plan here first on Be the Power. A lot of people like to steal our stuff and run with it instead of us trying to work together. Even those days are over. Many of you just don't even have the will to carry out the stuff. You're just looking for glory. You have no, and these are the people that we've encountered over the years. I'm talking specifically to those handful of individuals. I'm not talking to a broad group of our people. How does that look? See? We talking something different over here, fam. We are talking something really, really different, man. Start building those museums and stuff. You got to worry about teaching our history in those museums and what can or cannot be taught, because we'll be in charge of the curriculum. So we won't have to worry about that heavy liberal slant that comes out of these colleges and universities. We will be in charge of what happens. We will be. All right, let me stop sharing that. Let me stop sharing that, man. All right, where did I go? Stop sharing that. I'm just saying it's time to mobilize. It's time for us to mobilize. All of that talking about it is just over with. Are you willing to put in the work? If you're willing to put in the work, there's an organization right here, right now, and I am but one of the voices. I'm a part of a larger network of people, that creative minority across this country that's saying, come on, let's get this thing done. Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping. Let's start rephrasing, let's start giving these phrases new meaning. Let's get this thing popping right now. Because like Charles Blow said in that video, it's not about scale. It's not about us being 14% of the population, because the way they display that anyway in the media, it's another BS narrative to make us or reduce us to the role of minority. The fact of the matter is we teeter between the first and second largest ethnic group in the United States of America. That is a fact. When you start breaking peoples down by race and you add all of the Hispanics in, then of course it's more Hispanics. He's using this blanket racial term. But them people come from Mexico, Honduras, Chile, Brazil. I guess the people that speak Portuguese are still considered Hispanic, right? even the white groups. You have German Americans, Italian Americans, just Anglo-Saxon Americans, right? You have different groups, Polish Americans. Among our people, you have American freedmen, you have Nigerian Americans, you have Liberian Americans, Jamaican Americans, Haitian Americans, etc. But we are the largest ethnic group in this country. And that is a fact. We are not the minority. We have to start changing the narrative. I did a post the other day. Shout out to Sister Sabby Sabs, because she read my post. Okay, Ross said, no, Brazilians are Latino, but not Hispanic. That's interesting. Sabby Sabs, shout out to her. She brought us on her platform. So, anybody that shows love like that for the work that we're doing, they're going to always get a shout out from me. And she was reading a tweet that I did the other day on her platform. And the tweet essentially said that the 14th Amendment was not for the children of slaves. Remember, there are people in this country who will perpetually try to spin a narrative when it comes to us. Freedmen? No. We, the daughters of the Confederacy will write the textbooks, and we will maintain their identity as the identities that we called them during the times of slavery. Colored folks, blacks, Negroes, etc. Those names allude and delude to slavery. And that's why you didn't see the term freedmen when it came to us. But you've seen Chickasaw freedmen, Choctaw freedmen, Seminole freedmen, etc. You've seen their names persist. But for us, there was a rewrite. For us, they tried to convince us to believe for ages that the 14th Amendment granted us citizenships, and that before that we were stateless in this country. That was false. That was false. Another false narrative. So we cannot let them say that the 14th Amendment was for the children of slaves. The children of enslaved persons were labeled slaves themselves. The 14th Amendment were for freed people, freed men and women. That's who it was for. The 13th Amendment freed those whom were still held in bondage in the southern states. So it is impossible for the 14th Amendment to be for the children of slaves. We must correct these narratives. The babies of slaves is what they were saying. Babies of slaves. Correct every narrative that when it comes to us. See, do I have that clip of Stacey Abrams' interview? Let me see. Nah, I don't have that. But I do want to play this Obama clip because I was just talking about this earlier.
Why not target the African American community? Why not say then, this is for you? This is for African Americans. If there was a banking crisis, then you target money for the banks. If there was a national disaster, you target your money for the national for disaster relief.
That's not how America works. We want to give those young people and young Native Americans like them the support they deserve. We have to invest in them and believe in them and love them.
African American leaders have been critical of late. And it's true, you said you're the president for all people, not just for one group. If I'm a 16-year-old kid on the south side of Chicago, okay, my dad's gone, my mom's working 10 hours a day for peanuts, all I see around me is blight, there are no help wanted signs, and you won't even say, look, I'm going to help you, a young African American. How do I feel?
Emmett, first of all, that's not what people are saying. What people are saying all across the country is, we're hurting and we've been hurting for a long time. And the question is, how can we make sure that the economy is working for every single person?
And the economy didn't work for us. Wealth, our wealth, was destroyed under Barack Obama. You think about Chicago, because the 60-minute interviewer he gave us a scenario using Chicago. He said, well, I'm a young 16-year-old Black kid in Chicago. All I see around me is blight. Why is it that you won't craft something directly for me? Emmett, that's not how it works. Then it cuts right to the next scene of this dude talking about we have to invest in Native American children, believe in them and love them. You ain't got no love for Chicago? Isn't that where you built up your political campaign? Because they spraying up whole clubs and don't care who they kill now. It went from just random, not random shootings on the streets, but we just going to try to kill up everybody inside. It comes from years of disinvestment, of being ignored. That we gotta, it's on us now. It's on us now. Brother Josh says, we know that's not how America works for us. That's what we are fighting to change. And that's why, quote unquote, African American is a problem as a term. That's a fact. It's a fact. American freedmen should replace that term. And this is what we went to the OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, for. We don't care about the noise and with being made by irrelevant people in Twitter spaces. Care about that. Obama is not entitled to the special benefits that American freedmen are owed, and so he didn't care about us. He was one of them. He was one of them. Go into our videos on this channel and look up the Barack Obama breakdown that I did. Barack Obama was a horrible, horrible president for American freedmen. Horrible. So, I wanted to get on here and I wanted to show people that we have a plan. It's time for us to mobilize. It's time for us to mobilize. Don't get started on him. Yeah, we got a whole video. For those that didn't see it, go check our video out. Whole breakdown showing, and not our opinions. These are articles that were written. Articles. Even the nation's top Black socio-economist, my man Sandy, Dr. William Darity, wrote an article going at Barack Obama and how he failed our people. Failed them. Failed us. Failed us. So I'm about to wind this thing down. I want people to Mr. X said he's related to John Punch, if I'm not mistaken. I'm so glad you said that, Mr. X. So John Punch, this is what we're going to do. Let's look this up real quick. All right. Let me see. Okay, perfect. Let's look this up. Let's pull this up. Pull this up. So I typed in, did John Punch have any children? Because that's key. Yes, John Punch had at least one child. According to Wikipedia, he had a son named John Bunch the first with a white woman who was likely also an indentured servant. This John Bunch the first was born around 1637. Some research suggests that John Punch may have had other children as well, possibly with the same woman, and that they were known by the surname Bunch. According to Find a Grave, he had 3 sons, John II, Henry, and Paul. Now, I want you to pay attention to this, Mr. X, because this is important. Oh, damn. I got to remember to move this thing out the way when I'm doing this. I got to remember that. All right. Barack Obama's black side, his quote unquote black side, comes from his Kenyan father, which means that all of his quote unquote blackness can be traced to traced to Kenyans on the continent. So you eliminate that line. This leaves his mother's line. This leaves his mother's line. There was never any proof that Barack Obama was related to John Punch. And if there was proof, then that would mean that somewhere in Barack Obama's mother's line, one of them married one of these mixed people, right? Or the children of one of these mixed people, which would have been considered black during that time. Mulatto still fell under blackness. Barack Obama's white side were a slaveholding family. They were a slave. So the likelihood that Barack Obama's mother's side had an individual, especially directly through his matrilineal line, that married one of these people, and this is my opinion here, is highly unlikely. So the connection to John Punch, if there is a connection, is definitely not through the black side. His black side is African from Kenya directly. So his mother is a white woman, and his mother's family owned enslaved people. So no, he doesn't get to represent us in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So, all right, I'm gonna start winding this thing down, y'all. Again, I'm gonna do a quick promo, but I want everybody to go back and watch the beginning of this live stream. Right, we presented a plan of mobilization, and that plan is going to be up on our website as well. Put that plan up on our website with a little more detail. It's time to become the power. All of this, aha, gotcha, that means nothing. Our people are suffering at the end of the day. So I don't get the need to say, oh, you voted for this, while not touching on all the other things that I voted for that will have some form of a positive impact on, on our people. Shout out to Mr. X for becoming a new member of the channel. Become a member of the channel. Come support the channel, family. Support the platform. We give out very good information. I see other platforms, man, they rake in hundreds of dollars per night. And, we're not begging for any donations or anything like that, but it shows a sign that you respect what you're hearing. And if you can't respect what we're saying and what we're laying down after all the work that we put in, then I don't get it. Because you can see our work. We're not here to entertain you. We're not here to just give political commentary. We're here to do work. We're here to do work, and we're working. We're working, point blank, period. So,
From civil rights to civic power, we are the descendants of those emancipated, still fighting, but now organizing. No more marching just for visibility. We're building political muscle, claiming public office, controlling our local economies. We're taking our rightful seat at the table, not asking. We are citizens. This is the civic power movement. Join us at Freedmen University and be part of the legacy.
Yeah. Join us Go to our other YouTube channel, Freedmen University. Free you. It's about to be popping over there. It's about to be popping. It's time to do some things, family. It's time for us to do some things, man. I'm excited. I'm excited about putting this work in. I'm not a doom and gloom preacher. I'm not a doom. I've been through too much. I come from the bottom of the bottom. I am the definition of getting it out the mud. You think I'm going to let something affect me in a way that it doesn't activate me and causes me to sit around and complain with the vast body of knowledge that I have? No way. No way. It's time to make moves, man. It's time to make moves. So with that said, man, shout out to everybody. Again, go back and watch the beginning of this live stream. It's time to make moves. If you are interested in building with United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen, become a member. Become a member. Go to our website, usadof.org. If you want to become a part of our political advocacy, also go to our website, bethepower.org. Sign up for that email list. Sign up. It's time to build. It's time to do something. It's time to do something. Honors to my sister Roz for the contribution. She said, get ready, Freedmen. We're coming with the knowledge. At the SCOTUS today, we are taking these congressmen's seats. That is a fact. That is a fact. And when our people start stepping up the run, especially in that DC area, that DMV area, they're gonna come right here on the platform, and we're gonna build up all of the necessary support that they need in the same way that Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian does on TYT with their progressive liberal candidates. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing. So we going hard in the paint right now, fam. We going hard. All right, I'm going to end this thing, fam. I'll leave you all with the motto of our platform, which is don't just fight the power, become the power. And then and only then will you have the power to make a change. With that, I say peace.